Cool. We are live. Let me grab your YouTube. Do you want me to text you your YouTube?
If you could, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll grab it right now. You guys got pizza night tonight?
Yes, sir. Yep. 7 o'clock, Gain Street Pies.
Shout out Gain Street Pies.
Well, how's your week been, brother?
It's good. Still dealing with some technical issues and just getting things more consistent here, but this was a good week. Last week was a little rough. This is a good week.
Yeah.
Boom. Sweet. All right, I'm good. I'm ready. Yeah, we're good.
Yep, we're ready to go.
All right. All right. Here we go. Welcome to Big Man, Big Heart with Dillan Gibbons. I am your host, Josh Newberg. This is episode 33. We are coming to you on a Thursday evening. I'm live in the On3 studios here in Brentwood, Tennessee. Dillan is live in his living room in Tallahassee, Florida. Dillan, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, brother. It's great to be here on another podcast. Had a wonderful week of preparation heading into the Clemson game. And I look forward to talking about that and, some of the stuff we've been doing through Big Man, Big Heart as of late. But it's great to see you. Great to see you at the lighting all going this week. And it's a wonderful, wonderful background you got going on there.
Yeah, man, this is pretty professional. This is my new digs here. I feel right at home on the set here on 3. But let's get to your week. FSU dropped a game to NC State 17-19. Not exactly the barn burner we thought it would be. Another crazy ACC matchup. None of these games seem all that easy. How are you feeling after this game, and what are just some of your thoughts coming off of that loss?
Yeah, I still have a little bit of salt in my mouth, a little bit of distaste coming off that game. But the most important part for this team and for this week especially is just the response, right? Knowing that we have another opportunity, perhaps even a bigger opportunity, right, to make an impact as we move forward this week and face Clemson. They have a wonderful, a great defensive front. I can't really comment much on any other aspect of their team because we focus a lot on the defensive front as far as this week's gone so far. But our coaches have done a great job in responding. The players are right along with them. Tempo is pretty high, and people are ready to absolutely get after it. And Doak Campbell in front of all those fans this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to see what this team's response is all about. What some players are made of that haven't necessarily been put in those positions yet in big time games. And overall, I'm looking forward to the continuation and the development of this offensive line unit.
Yeah, and we're about midway through the season, so. What's just some of your mid-season thoughts in terms of the offensive line, the identity, how this offensive line's different from last year?
Yeah, so this offensive line, last year we played maybe 10 guys already up to this point this season. This year we've only played about 7 guys, and give or take injuries and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
we've had a more cohesive unit because the people that are playing in games aren't necessarily dictated on who's healthy. It's more or less a competition of sorts, right? For me and Rob Scott, left guard and left tackle, we've done a great job in our communication, and overall the offensive line has really elevated their quality of play as far as communication goes, and being heads up aware offensive linemen. And for the right side of the offensive line, there's been a lot of competition, and it's great to see that. It's great to see guys having to compete every single day, and it's great to see the people that have formed themselves into those consistent players and go out there and take meaningful snaps for Florida State and help us win more football games. So it's awesome to see.
What's it like with something you said in the beginning? Last year, that was the identity of the team. The identity of the offensive line was like, who's available, right? Like, who's healthy, who can get on the field and block for a couple plays. And this year, it seems like there's continuity. What does that feel like as a offensive lineman, being able to kind of build on each performance because you're playing with a cohesive unit?
Well, and it gives time for guys to develop, right? A lot of people were commenting early in the season, even in the preseason, about the amount of offensive linemen we had at Florida State, which was right around 23 before the season started, before we had a few injuries. That number, of course, you're not going to see all those guys in games. You're not going to see true freshmen in games. You're not going to see, guys that haven't seen already in games. But for the most part, you're taking reps off those guys' bodies, right? You're allowing them to develop and practice, understand the basics, the technique, the fundamentals that Coach Atkins has instilled in us, and really giving Coach Atkins a great slate to work with as we move forward. And those guys are put into more of a position of accountability. But for those guys right now that have been inside that, sort of rotation, whether it be a few guys that sub in and out, a few guys playing right guard, right tackle, in different positions along the offensive line, it's given them a taste of college football, and it's given them, the ability to be counted on in those critical situations. Of course, we're always being always under a microscope and always being evaluated for the next best person to be put in a game. But just having that sense of competition, and not necessarily just relying on a player being healthy, or a player just being available to come into a game or to play football for Florida State is a big deal. Even if you're talking about the mindset and the preparation it takes week in and week out, you're always competing for your job. You're not just sitting there and waiting, to go and play a football game. You're every week having to earn that little slice of the pie to go out there and perform and hopefully have another week after that.
How do you move on from a game like NC State? What are the takeaways? What are some of the things that you got to just put behind you and just move on, because you only have 7 days until the next game?
Yeah. So for me, once we lost the game, I'm the kind of person that's going to look at that, situation and say, good, right? I had a smile on my face and I thanked every person that was there. I tried to go around all the coaches, as many players as I saw, and I said, thank you. That for me is kind of saying goodbye to that game, right? We don't have time. These seasons move so fast, man. I've been through 5. This is going my 6th season. Been through a lot of them. They move so fast. You lose games you're not supposed to lose. You win games you're not supposed to win. Like it just happens. So we don't have time to dwell in the past. We don't have time to think about NC State. Of course, we watch the film. I probably watched the game 5 times before I got done with it. But we evaluated what we did. We saw what we needed to correct, and we moved on. And we focused on our response. It's the same process. A lot of people talk about it, but not everyone's the same way. I played for 2 very, very good coaches with Brian Kelly and Coach Mike Norvell. And people always say, the process is the same, right? But the process is the same at Florida State, win or loss. It doesn't matter. This isn't an outcome-based offense. This isn't an outcome-based team. The coaches are going to apply what they learned from the game and move on with the same pattern. We didn't do more hitting drills. We didn't do more, focus drills, whatever it might be. We stuck to the same things that we've been doing, just, relying on personal accountability within the team, relying on guys, taking personal responsibility for themselves, the way they play, the way they conduct their business outside the field. But the process did not change at all. Again, like I said, not outcome driven. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. The process is going to be the same, and the response is going to be there. And having a big game like this in Doak Campbell, man, that's a hell of a time for a response, right?
Absolutely. And Clemson is coming to town. It's going to be a big game. I'm sure it's going to be loud. I'm sure it's going to be crazy. How are you feeling about this game? Clemson hasn't been in Tallahassee in 4 years. This is the last time you're going to face them, ACC rival. How do you feel about this game?
I'm a little bit torn, right? I like playing Clemson, but also it's not, not the best, defense to line up with and just, play base plays. They're always moving and shifting and changing. They run primarily a 4-down front that moves into a bear, that moves into an Okie, that moves into a traditional 3-down front. They even have like an inverted triangle they run to, but there's a lot of looks. But for me, it's a game where you catch them off guard, right? When you have 5 guys executing, base fundamentals, techniques, the plays the coaches are calling, you'll catch them. And I had the blessing, maybe curse, to play them twice while I was at Notre Dame with my last season there back in 2020. And we played them one game at Notre Dame and beat them. And then we played them in the ACC championship. And we ended up losing to Clemson. We could have played them a third time, which would have been interesting. I like our odds in that case. But having to play them twice, you're always preparing for basically every defense you're going to be presented with throughout the year from every other team. So it doesn't really change much. We just kind of go back to our camp philosophy. Bring back and harp on all the processes we learned very early on in camp, the base fundamentals of different plays, different positions, and different schemes. And that's what I look forward to. Having guys out there that can process information at a elite level. That's the kind of game you want to look for, especially one of those games that NFL scouts will look for. So it's a great opportunity for all of us on the offensive line. We all understand that. We've invested ourselves this week to hopefully do our best to block Clemson.
You're in your 5th year. You've learned a lot. What have you learned about 6th? Yeah, 6th. You've learned more than I even know that you know. How do you take advantage of this part of the season? Like, it's physical right now. You're just coming off NC State. You got Clemson up next. And all these teams have tough battles. What have you learned about, the recovery or whatever it is to give yourself an advantage when times get tough like this?
Yeah, so you always get speeches, and everyone's heard, ex-NFL players or ex-college football players give you the speeches, and they harp on, I wish I did more, right? They live their life with regret, and that's something that you can't take away from them. They wish they went back and pushed a little bit harder. Well, I realized that, I believe, in my sophomore, maybe junior year at Notre Dame before I got here to Florida State. And I started applying myself and trying to separate myself from the pack. Not only the pack I was faced up there up north with Notre Dame, but the pack of all of college football, of what the majority of athletes would do or, consider reasonable. So I set aside reason. And for instance, I wake up every morning at 4:00. I'll get to the training room by, 4:15, 4:20 every morning. And I'll sit there, crisscross applesauce, reflecting on my day, reflecting on what I've been through, watching a little bit of film, and mentally preparing myself for the day. And I sit there and I wait for the trainers to get there. I'm the first person in the facility, and one of my trainers, Tyler, he gets there around 5:15 to 5:20 every day, and he'll open up the door and I'll go in there and I'll start working on my prehab. That might be getting in the hot tub first, doing some laser, doing some Hivamat, just doing little things that the normal person wouldn't go through in their morning schedule, to try to make myself better, to try to make my career even longer than what I hope it is someday, and prepare my body for the day. That's just one little aspect, right? I try to take things incredibly seriously and apply myself to the best of my ability, whether that be through mental intensity, taking reps when I'm not even physically taking reps, standing behind every play that's run, going through my thought process, and trying to bring others along with me, right? Encouraging others to do the same thing. I mean, waking up early is just a choice, right? It's going to bed a little bit earlier, waking up earlier. It's not a big deal. But a lot of people, push that off because we're in this time in our life where it's really easy to be incredibly comfortable, right? Get all of our food paid for, get our housing paid for, and we get a stipend check, right? That's comfortable, right? I could just lay on this couch all day. I could play video games. I haven't, played video games in, probably like 3 or 4 years. Like, it's a choice, and that's a choice I made for myself, and a choice I dedicate myself to on a day-to-day basis. I believe that's what separates me, at least from the pack, and from younger players. And again, it's a maturity thing. A younger player, might be a hell of an athlete, might go on and win a bunch of football games and get drafted super high, and he'll be faced with an NFL team. He'll be faced with that reality, right? A bunch of dudes that are out there shedding blood, sweat, and tears, committing themselves to the process, committing themselves to football. And that's a choice you have to make. You can't be in and out. You can't take one step right, one step left. you have to go all in. If you don't go all in decisions you want to make and the way you allocate your time throughout the day, then you're at a huge disadvantage at the college level. And as you get to the NFL, you're just going to flake out.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it always amazes me. You hear people like at the twilight of their career saying what they do to take care of their bodies. And it's like, man, but what if you did that when you were young? Like, I know you didn't feel like you needed to, but imagine if you did, and imagine if your engine was running on a fully rested, fully recovered fuel, So if there's young guys listening to this might be the most important segment of this show for you. But
Yeah.
I
And what I'll
know
say
that
too
you,
is we get a certain amount of money each month, and at Florida State they have one of the highest costs of attendance checks, right? And that money could be spent on a wide variety of things, right? For me, I spend it on food first, right? I get all my food prep paid for the month, and then I turn to what I can do for myself, right? And maybe that's a mindless hobby, maybe that's something to get my mind off of football and help me rest. But something I've done for a number of years is buying recovery equipment. So I have a Game Ready, I have Normatec boots, I have several massage guns. I have every ointment you can possibly use, and I dedicate myself to be able to use those instruments every night before I go to bed, just to make myself 1% better before I go to sleep.
Yeah, no doubt. The only thing you're missing is essential oils and crystals. Do you sleep
I,
with those too?
I got the essential oils going, let me tell you, but the crystals, those aren't. I haven't had those figured out yet. I might have to get a jade roller.
Right.
Preserve my youth.
I know a few girls that can hook you up. All right, let's talk about Big Man, Big Heart and your latest NIL ventures. What is the latest? Keep us updated.
Yeah, so talking about the Hurricane Relief Fund, we've raised just about, I believe, $33,000 so far since it was launched last week. I know we're extremely excited. Again, we're going to be at the tailgate this weekend. If you'd like to stop by, please check it out. Free food, free drinks. Please consider making a donation to Big Man Big Heart. But if you want to learn more about what we're going to be doing with those funds, we've been able to develop our thought process a little bit. We actually had a group, a major beverage supplier and distributor based out of here in Tallahassee. That's going to be donating 7 pallets of drinks, water, sports drinks. I don't want to name the name, but it's a very, very, very cool opportunity. So we're going to be renting a very large truck to pick up all 7 of those pallets, bring them down to Fort Myers, and we're actually going down during our bye week. So it's going to be awesome to be able to go down there, help out a bunch of folks. We're in contact right now with the FWC. We've worked with them before with Big Man Big Heart to be able to indicate some officers and hopefully have an officer down there when we go down there to be able to figure out where best to bring our supplies and being able to help families. So that is something that has been absolutely incredible to see the support of the Florida State fan base. See support of people from all over college football, and even in the Bay Area, even in Fort Myers, people just stepping up to help out.
Yeah.
And again, I'm blown away every day by how much they've done to support that area, whether that's individuals stepping up and starting crowd raising efforts, local municipalities stepping up, people from all walks of lives donating their time, donating their only means to make income to help out people that are in need right now. And there's a great amount of support that's needed. And I wish I had all the time in the world. I wish I could be down there right now doing everything I could and analyzing the situation and trying to fix the problems that are present. But I'm trying to rely on people I know from the area right now. So if anyone's listening to this and who has somebody that needs support or has a way that we can help support, please just let us know.
It's pretty awesome. I know, I got some friends down there helping. Everybody knows somebody. If you're from the Tampa Bay area, somebody that lives down there, or somebody that has a family member or parent that lives down there. We talked about this last show. We don't need to go in depth, but it is a weird feeling in Florida when you live in that state and a hurricane doesn't hit you. You don't know whether to be grateful or guilty or a little bit of both, but the best thing you can do is just help out, because it could be any of us at any given time. And there's there's nothing that we have control over except our response afterward. And it's been great to see the traction that you've gotten with this on Big Man Big Heart, whether it be on Twitter, whatever it is. People are coming together, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Mm-hmm. And just a little more positive and upbeat. If you remember Liana Joy, she passed away last December. A little girl that had childhood cancer that we helped out, raised a good amount of funds for it, and she ended up passing away last December. Just talking about the continuation, her family will actually be here for the Clemson game. So they'll be here this weekend. They're going to be hanging out with my family. If you did contribute to that, if you read into Liana's story, I'd really appreciate if you would stop by the Big Man Big Heart tailgate just to meet them, put a face with the name. That'd be awesome. And also want to talk about Tyler Paul, my ambassador from UCF, another great individual, a hell of a long snapper. So he started the college charity challenge with GoFundMe. So that's something that I put together with a few individuals from GoFundMe. We've been talking about since we, even had our first conversation with GoFundMe. I ran a round of it back in the spring, and we've helped them indicate athletes throughout the nation that have the propensity to do good. They want to raise some funds for a local charity or a cause that they want to support. Well, with Tyler Paul, we talked about Big Day for Brits Bunch last year, which is an event where we got a bunch of kids together from the local area. It suffered from a bunch of diseases and a few different mental illnesses and things going on. We brought them to a UCF football game. So we're doing the same this year. We're raising money right now to help support that effort. We have a lot of great partners in the UCF area. People are stepping up from all around the board, from local restaurants to the bookstore, and people donating tickets. So if you are interested, please check out Tyler Paul's newest GoFundMe. You can check it out on his Twitter, also on bigmanbigheart.com. If you just type in Big Day for Brits Bunch, you'll find the GoFundMe and being able to share it with others. So I can't thank everybody again for supporting all these charitable endeavors. And again, if you do have any interest, please just shoot us a text, shoot us a call, and have anybody that that's been directly impacted by any things we just talked about, whether it be Hurricane Ian or different things throughout the Florida State family. I'd really appreciate it if you could just shoot me a text or a call.
And all that information can be found on bigmanbigheart.com. Real easy. Go there, contribute. If you need anything, all the resources are there to contact Dillan. Shout out to Gain Street Pies. I know we're like creeping up on pizza night here. Any other shout outs? Anybody you want to recognize tonight before we head out?
Man, big shout out Jorgensen Gibbons Law, man. It's my mom's law firm. I'm out of St. Petersburg, Florida. They do workers' compensation, personal injury, disability. Both my sisters work there and my brother. So Riley Gibbons, Katie Gibbons, and Delaney Gibbons. It is a family-owned and family-operated practice. They do some wonderful work. And like I said, a lot of who I am comes from my mom. Comes from my mom and my dad. And my mom is an absolute angel, and she helps people and help us make people's quality of life better, and does it in such a way that it's incredibly effective. And I love her so much, and she does some awesome work. I wouldn't be giving her a plug, and I wouldn't be talking about her law firm if she doesn't do good work. So if you are in an automotive accident or anything of that nature and you need representation, please give my mom a call, Lynn Gibbons at Jorgensen Gibbons Law.
All right, Dillan, we'll talk to you next week. Go Noles.
Yes, sir. I'll see you.